Dolphins versus Chiefs, Week 9, a huge game being played all the way in Germany. This one's starting at 9:30 a.m., so make sure to set your alarms tomorrow morning. But either way, getting into the preview, starting out with the injury reports. Robert Hunt and Brandon Jones have both been ruled out for the game tomorrow. I'm not too worried about Brandon Jones. We're getting Javon Holland back after he missed last week versus the Patriots in concussion protocol. So I'm very happy to see him back out there because Brandon Jones wasn't really getting the job done in coverage. Robert Hunt, it sucks seeing him out. He was really holding down that right guard spot well. But we'll see if he's back after the Raiders game. It's really hard to tell with the hamstring injury. But it'll be Robert Jones starting at right guard for the Miami Dolphins tomorrow morning. And on the questionable list, Teron Armstead, Braxton Berrios, Justin Bethel, River Craycraft, Xavier Howard, Nick Needham, Durham Smythe, and Connor Williams. Now, it's worth noting that, of course, after this game, the Dolphins have their bye week next week, and then after that, they play the Raiders at home. So, a really good time to have a bye week, especially after a game like this being played in Germany. But a lot of these guys should be back for the Raiders game. Now, hopefully, we get to see these guys. I think if Teron Armstead is elevated off the injury reserve by 4 p.m. today, then he can play tomorrow, and it's 2:45 right now, and we've got no word on him, so I can't say things are looking too well for him to play, but at the same time, he is questionable, and he did practice this week, and we know Teron Armstead, he can go the whole week without practicing and then play the full game, so it's basically what he did the entire year last season, but either way, I think Braxton Berrios will play. We'll see if Justin Bethel plays. I don't think it's too big of an impact. Craycraft, I don't expect to play. Xavier Howard, I think, will play. It'll be the first time that we see him and Jalen Ramsey on the field at the same time. Nick Needham will play. Durham Smythe, I think he's going to play. Connor Williams, I expect him to play. He was active last week, didn't play. I expect him to be back in the starting lineup tomorrow morning. For the Chiefs, not too many names here. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is out. Willie Gay Jr. and Richie James both questionable. I guess Willie Gay is a big name because Nick Bolton is on the IR with that wrist injury, but either way, of course, not many big names for the Chiefs there. Moving on to the matchups, I do have the coaches here. I put down Mike McDaniel versus Andy Reid, but if I'm being honest, the main coaching matchup of tomorrow's game that really may determine the outcome is Andy Reid versus Vic Fangio. Now, the Chiefs' offense honestly hasn't really been living up to the hype, I'd say, so far this year, and people say that it's actually maybe been holding them back with their defense really playing well. But Vic Fangio, like I said, he's gonna get Jalen Ramsey and Xavier Howard both back for the first time this season, and we're getting guys back one by one slowly. Nick Needham, I think, should be able to play, and we'll see his snap count go more increasingly up throughout the whole year. Jalen Phillips is finally, healthy from that oblique injury. Bradley Chubb's been playing really well. So is Wilkins and Sealer. This defense is going to start slowly forming into one of the top units in the league, and I think that is part of what Fangio has wanted so far this year. But yeah, man, Andy Reid versus Mike McDaniel, Andy Reid versus Vic Fangio, whatever you want to take it, the coaching matchup is going to be a big, big factor tomorrow. Next up, I have Kelsey versus a question mark because that's going to be a huge we already know the type of impact that Travis Kelce makes. I'm going to talk about him more in the 5 things the Dolphins need to do to win this game because Kelsey's a big part of that. But I don't know what they're going to have because there's no reason why Travis Kelce should be lined up one-on-one with any type of Dolphins defender. I don't care who. I don't care if it's Jalen Ramsey. I don't care if it's Perry Nickerson. There shouldn't be anyone guarding Travis Kelce one-on-one. But whatever they decide to do, whoever the main coverager is, whether it's going to be a linebacker, Jerome Baker, David Long, or Duke Riley, or a safety in Holland or Deshaun Elliott, whoever it is, that matchup is going to be huge. And then the next matchup is Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle versus L'Jarius Sneed and Trent McDuffie. I love Trent McDuffie coming out of the draft 2 years ago, or maybe it was a year ago. Washington, I think, coming out of. But I did like the Chiefs picking him. He's having a really good year so far this season, but is it going to be enough to stop Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle? I'm assuming not. Of course, the big game storyline-wise for Tyreek Hill, not returning to Kansas City, but he's playing against his former team, so we'll see how that goes. But getting into my favorite part of the video, the 5 things that the Dolphins need to do to win this game on Sunday morning. Number 1 is contain Travis Kelce. I would love to put stop Travis Kelce, deny Travis Kelce. It's not going to happen. Contain Travis Kelce. That's all we can really ask for. I don't expect the Dolphins to, completely limit him to 3 receptions for 27 passing yards. I'm expecting at least 6 receptions or so for 80, 90, maybe even 100 yards and probably a touchdown. But contain him. If it's less than 10 receptions, if it's less than 170 yards, if it's less than 2 touchdowns, I'll take it. Number 2, staying with the defense, no extended play success. We know if you were to think of any quarterback in the NFL who has the most success off of extended plays, running out of the pocket, throwing downfield, sidearm passes, behind the back, left-handed passes, not for the Dolphins, but for the Chiefs, of course, with the right-handed quarterback in Mahomes, it's Patrick Mahomes. So, if we can keep Mahomes in the pocket rather than have him rolling out looking downfield, that's what you want with most other quarterbacks. But this against Patrick Mahomes, you don't want to force him out of the pocket because that's where he makes the most success out of the plays. Of course, he's lethal in the pocket as well. But if you can create pressure while also keeping him in the pocket, that's where Phillips and Chubb are going to come up huge. Because if we can get pressure up the middle with Wilkins and Sealer, and Chubb and Phillips are going to be there to close him out and not let him run out of the pocket, that'll be huge for this Dolphins defense. Now, number 3, moving on to the offense, give Tua time. Now, I know I'm not expecting Tua to have 5-6 seconds in the pocket because of all of the injuries. Now, speaking of potential here, we may not see Teron Armstead tomorrow. We're not going to see Isaiah Wynn tomorrow. We may not see Connor Williams tomorrow. We're not seeing Robert Hunt tomorrow. We may only have one starter on the offensive line so far this year. That's going to be Austin Jackson on the right side. Now, that is a very important position, especially with Tua being our quarterback. But it doesn't matter because we have 4 out of our 5 potential offensive line starters that are going to be out. So we'll see, but every time Tua is sacked more than 2 times, we've lost, and he does not have a good record. When it's 1 time or less, or when it's when it's 2 or less times he's sacked, the Dolphins have a really, really good record. They haven't lost so far this season when that happens. So give Tua time. That may be the answer to winning this game. Number 4, establish the run game early. I want to see the Dolphins running the ball. I don't really care if they do it early, to be honest. I would rather it to be early. But if not, that's okay. I just want to see the Dolphins running the ball. We'll get Devon Achane back after the bye week, which is great. But Mostert's going to be there. Of course, Jeff Wilson, Salvon Ahmed. I want to see Mostert and Wilson running the ball up the Chiefs' throats most of the game. And then number 5, smart football. Last week versus the Patriots, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't as bad as the Eagles game where they opened up the game with the delay of game. And then, of course, the 10 penalties against 0. A lot of them were pretty clear, but at the same time, a lot of them just were completely disrespect. I still am in shock at how that game went down. But last week versus the Patriots, it wasn't terrible. Tua had that dumb interception on Kyle Duggar. Also opening up the second half on the very first play, there was a mishap between Tua and Mostert in the exchange, and there was a fumble. The Patriots got it, and I think they scored 2, or they may have put up only 3. But either way, they could have put up 7, and they would have been right back in the game. And then also, there wasn't many flags. It wasn't terrible versus New England. But I need the Dolphins to play smart football because versus the Bills, versus the Eagles, the 2 games we've lost this year, both versus those 2 teams, both versus 2 really good teams, we've had too many mistakes that are easily avoidable. So that's exactly what needs to happen in this game. But my prediction for it, I have the Dolphins winning this game 31-30. Now, this game's huge. This game is absolutely huge. Now, if the Dolphins win this game, they move on to 7-2. They probably take over the number 1 spot in the AFC, and that'll go huge down the line throughout the year. Because even if the Chiefs catch up to the Dolphins, we know that the Dolphins, all they need to do is tie with the Chiefs, and they have the tiebreaker over them. That's why this game is so important. Going into the bye at 6-3 wouldn't be terrible, but there's a huge difference between that and 7-2. So get this game over with. Not over with, but just get the win here. If they can win this game, they're going to be probably the Super Bowl favorites. If they don't, then all people are going to say is that the Dolphins can't be good teams. We already know what the outcome's going to be. But yeah, man, a huge game, 31-30. I think it'll be close. I think both teams get in the end zone multiple times. I take the over on this game. I do see it coming. But yeah, man, huge game, 9:30 in the morning tomorrow. It's going to be a fun one either way. That'll wrap up. Hope you guys enjoyed. Have a great day. Peace.